Good Monday morning, a victory Monday for once with the New York Giants as they figure it out. It was an ugly game to watch. It was a super ugly second half to watch, but a win is a win is a win, especially when you are the Giants who have struggled so mightily this year. It was a fork-in-the-road spot for Brian Daboll. They were either going to go off a cliff or they were going to get this thing rolling in the right direction for just a little bit as they head into this game against the Jets this week. So season saved to a certain degree by beating the Commanders. Let's see how good the record is when they go into the bye in a few weeks. Fun day in the NFL. That 1 o'clock slate ended up being a lot of fun despite they weren't great matchups on paper. We'll get to all of it. And Max Scherzer takes the mound in a Game 7 of the ALCS. That is nice and juicy for all of us that can't stand that guy. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. I'm doing well, man. It was, quite the interesting day yesterday, as you said. The Giants and the Washington Commanders combined for 18 punts in their game. And the Giants, first half, they were good. Tyrod Taylor was good. Jalen Hyatt was good. Everything was good. They actually had some life on offense. It's the first game that they have won with a backup quarterback with Daniel Jones on the roster. So when Daniel Jones gets hurt and his backup comes in, normally the Giants lose. But yesterday they won, and Tyrod looked really good at halftime. And I was thinking yesterday at halftime, we got ourselves a quarterback controversy. And then, lo and behold, 100 yards in the second half and not much. And a lot of this game being played in between the 20s. And Sam Howell basically stinks. Cannot read a defense, and I don't know if Eric Bieniemy, the former offense coordinator for Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs, has an offense that has any answers to the blitz, because the Giants blitzed about 65% of the pass plays yesterday. Now, if that is going to be the recipe for them to get the sacks that they got yesterday, that means that's exactly what they're going to do to Zach Wilson next week. That's what the Patriots have done to Zach Wilson. That's what a lot of teams have done to Zach Wilson. Heat him up and force him into a mistake. And I will say that the blitzes were working yesterday, and Wink Martindale had them coming from everywhere. And when you get into a situation like that, the offense coordinator on the other side of the field has got to kind of change. And he's got to say, if they're going to do this, then we have wide receivers that can win one-on-one, especially against young defensive backs. And the Washington Commanders never really went to that. It was like bizarre to me that there was no adjustment made by Eric Bieniemy in that offense at all. And I'm like, wait, this guy won Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes. He's been a candidate for head coach, and you're going to sit there and you're not going to react to it? And I was shocked about that. And quite frankly, Wink Martindale and that defense won the game. The blitzes worked. Sam Howell took sack after sack after sack instead of getting rid of the ball. And quite frankly, it adds a little bit more juice to this week's game.
I think a lot more juice. I mean, the fact that the defense has played that well now for back-to-back weeks makes you think that the Giants have a chance in the game. I know you don't believe that they have a chance in the game, but Squash spot, yes, you've been saying it now for 2 weeks. So but I believe that the Giants defense, if it continues to play this way, of course, is going to give them an opportunity. But I just don't know if I have any faith in the offense. As far as the quarterback controversy stuff, I feel like this is one of those things that if I had brought up, hey, Tyrod Taylor quarterback controversy, you would tell me, listen, Daniel Jones is making $40 million, dude. Like, listen, Biggs, this guy's making $40 million. So I'm kind of like leaning on that thought process that even though Tyrod Taylor there were two really good halves of football played by Giants quarterbacks this year. One by Tyrod Taylor yesterday in the first half and one by Daniel Jones against Arizona in the second half.
Tyrod Taylor gave him a chance to win up in Buffalo, too.
Yeah, no, he did, but still the offense didn't score any points.
But how about this? How about instead of a quarterback controversy, because I don't know if Daniel Jones is healthy.
Oh, that's the other thing.
They may tell Daniel Jones to take another week.
Yeah, they may.
They may. You never know.
But I think when he's healthy, he's going to play. I mean, it's not like Tyrod went out there. It's not like Tyrod went out there, put up 35 points. I mean, he looked great in the first half, and also that Commanders defense is one of the worst in football, too.
Well, their secondary is brutal, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, it's brutal.
And they are bad football. How the hell did they win 3 games?
I don't know. I kind of felt bad for Tiki and Matt Ryan because they were trying to say nice things.
Listen, 2 bad teams battling it out. And honestly, the Giants probably should have won by more for several reasons. One, I mean, you got these 2 critical fumbles that happen. The Sterling Shepard off the punt return and then the Saquon Barkley fumble. And then also Kayvon Thibodeau is basically handed a football with nobody in front of him to score a defensive touchdown. And he bobbles it like it's a honey-glazed ham.
Well, that's why he should always be in the pass rush and not in the pass coverage.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, that was bad.
They were doing these things, fire zone type of things, where here you got a pass rusher standing up. You think he's coming. He's not coming. He backs off, and then the linebacker or the safety or the corner comes. And, and it seemed like the Washington Commanders weren't prepared for any of that.
Yeah, they
it's
weren't prepared
to me
for
that,
anything.
like an offensive coordinator that has the reputation and the history of Eric Bieniemy didn't have an answer for any of it. Now, I know that he's hamstrung by the young quarterback, that he doesn't have Patrick Mahomes back there, running around, getting away from people and making unbelievable throws down the field. But still, it was an ass kicking from that standpoint, and it will be interesting to see whether or not Nathaniel Hackett and Zach Wilson are able to handle it.
Yeah, and with a bye week now, you would hope that these guys that were riding high off of the Eagles win, and the Eagles ended up looking great again last night against the Dolphins, so that makes that win even more impressive for the Jets, that they will be prepared for. The Giants' defense early on in this season looked like they didn't want to be there on the field. They were missing tackles. They weren't physical. They looked like one of the worst defenses in football, and that has changed dramatically the last couple of weeks. And I really think a lot of that has to do with the play of Dexter Lawrence, who has been a game wrecker. He has been absolutely awesome. He looks like a guy who earned every dollar of that massive contract that he got in the offseason. And really, not to the level of Aaron Donald, because Aaron Donald is a first ballot Hall of Famer, has been one of the best players we have seen over the last decade, but when he goes, that defense goes.
Well, Bobby Okereke had 11 tackles yesterday.
And he was also great in the Bills game, too.
So that gives Bobby Okereke now 4 straight games with double-digit tackles. So 4 consecutive games, double-digit tackles. You know who the last Giant linebacker to do that is?
Blake Martinez?
No.
I know he had a lot of tackles.
He did have
Harry Carson?
Nope. It was Antonio Pierce back in 2000. I want to say 2006, I believe.
All right. And?
What I'm saying is that they hit on a free agent.
How about that? Yeah, right.
They hit, like we always scream and yell that they don't hit on a free agent. They hit on a free agent, and his name's Bobby Okereke. And, say what you want. Maybe it has a lot to do with Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams inside, that he's able to go over and make tackles. Well, 4 games in a row, double-digit tackles by that young man.
Right. And in the beginning of the season, people were wondering where he was, and this was how the defense was going to improve, was going to be around Okereke and that signing. So, yeah, you have seen that. But, still offensively, they've just got big problems. It's a lot better when Saquon's there, but now he's got a hyperextended elbow on top of still coming back from the ankle injury. You don't know about Daniel Jones' status. This neck injury that Daniel Jones has just feels so much like the last one, where we were strung along for weeks and weeks and weeks thinking that he was going to play, and then he just never came back. And I'm not saying that he's not going to come back for the rest of the season, but that's sort of the way that it's been.
Well, he wasn't on the practice field the last time. Now he is out there on the practice field throwing. So it's just a question of whether or not they think he could take a hit.
See, I actually think I remember him being out there that next week with that previous neck injury, and he was doing some stuff, and then all of a sudden he was shut down after that. But I don't know how much different the Giants offense is going to be with Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones being the quarterback. I don't really know. I do think the upside for Daniel Jones is greater if he plays at his best, but at the same time, this is a guy you're going back out there with a neck injury who's gotten his head taken off essentially every single game by the opposing defense, and also when he runs around gets his ass kicked. I don't know what type of Daniel Jones we're going to get when he comes back.
Well, all I know is that Jalen Hyatt and Darren Waller have both kind of now become apparent in the offense with Tyrod Taylor as the quarterback, because Darren Waller was 7 for 98 and a touchdown yesterday, and Jalen Hyatt, he's just about time they played him. Remember, I think it was in game 1. Was it game 1 or game 2 they played him, and then all of a sudden we didn't see him, and now Brian Daboll said, we're going to start showing our younger players more at wide receiver. And quite frankly, he's a keeper. It looks like they hit on him too.
Yeah, I mean, and he provides an element to that offense that they just don't have, which is this explosive ability, which is speed down the field. They just really don't have that outside of him, so they have to use him.
Well, a lot of people screaming and yelling about what Joe Shane is doing, and I know the offensive line has taken a lot of hits. Given the state of that offensive line yesterday and supposedly that great defensive line of Washington, the fact that they won the game is really kind of a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was a miracle. I mean, I picked them to win. I think the Commanders stink, but yes, the offensive line did keep it together. Although there was that one play still, I don't understand how this happens, and maybe you could explain it to me. But how Chase Young just goes completely unblocked.
That's on Justin Pugh. I mean either he thinks he's got a back going that way, but let me just tell you something. You're not putting a back or a tight end on Chase. Sometimes you do, and sometimes their defensive lineman, or alignment, I should say, sometimes causes you problems. How Justin Pugh at left tackle can't look out there and see that Chase Young is out there in a 3-point stance and ready to come. After the quarterback, you have to turn out and block the guy.
Yeah. Yes, and he just let him go.
Either that or, and this is, I don't want to get too much into the weeds with this, there's a pass protection called, and for whatever reason, Tyrod Taylor doesn't change it at the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
That's also a potential that he just didn't see. I'm like, first of all, when you're playing guys like Myles Garrett or people that look like Chase Young that are big and fast, and you know that they're in the pass rush, you got to make sure you have an offensive lineman going at it. Now, sometimes a linebacker will be down, and they'll try to screw you up in your pass protection and your communication. That may have happened. And quite frankly, Justin Pugh doesn't play tackle. He's out there just because they need a body out there, which is amazing to me that they are able to win with the group of guys. I give them credit. I mean, they did score 14 points. They did give Tyrod Taylor enough time to make some passes. On that particular one, that was just a blown assignment, and Chase Young was given a sack.
Yeah, but the real question is now as they take on the Jets this week, and that defense is so much better than what the Commanders throw out there. And I understand the Washington Commanders' defensive line is good and stocked with talent, but still, this
reputation.
Jets, right, and this Jets defense, throughout the entire defense is so much better. And statistics will back that up. I mean, will they be able to score a point? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Whatever the over, I haven't looked yet at the over-under of the spread, whatever that is, it has to be very, very low. I mean, this is going to be a battle. You think I could see it could end up being a squash spot, but I think it's going to be a close game just because the Giants' defense is playing great and you're still dealing with Zach Wilson as a quarterback, and this Giants' offense is horrendous, and the Jets' defense is really good. I mean, this is like a 16-13, 16-10. I mean, this might be uglier than this past game.
Unless the one statistic that raises its ugly head for both teams, and that would be turnovers.
Yes, of course.
And that's where the blitzing and Zach Wilson handling it and understanding where the protection is and who's involved in the protection, who's the hot receiver, or is it a 7-man protection so we don't have to worry about it? I mean, there's a lot of crap that's on tape now that Wink Martindale's put out there that, I'm sure that when Nathaniel Hackett starts looking at the tape, he's going to be like, oh, Jesus. They're coming from everywhere.
Yeah, which is surprising that we didn't see that early on in the season, or maybe we did. It wasn't as effective. But it seems like there were smelling salts put in front of Brian Daboll and Wink Martindale the last couple of weeks. Like, they weren't themselves in the early part of the season. Now there's reports out Brian Daboll was in, he was a part of every bit of the offensive game plan and the play calling, and he's more involved in the offense. And Wink Martindale's defense now is more complicated with the blitzing. It was almost like, it felt like, and I know these guys worked hard the entire season, but it felt like they found something, both of them, especially the defense, the last couple of weeks that's working that wasn't early on in the season.
When the head man's in the meetings with you and he's talking to you, you listen. There's no BS, there's no crap, and it was interesting that story came out. Normally stuff like that doesn't get leaked, but for some reason that got leaked. That Brian Daboll was in all the offensive meetings, was talking to everybody.
Yeah.
It sounds like I don't want to go down the road of Joe Judge. I don't want to go down the road of this, that, or the other thing. I don't want to blame anybody else. I want to take it on myself to go ahead and get involved here. which good for him. I'm glad he did because, maybe he saved this job.
Yeah, I mean, still got a long way to go, and you've got this game, and I'm really curious to see how the Giants play this week because that to me, I mean, every week now when you start off 1-5 is critical if you're just trying to save face, but I mean, have they gotten good enough to be able to beat a team like the Jets? I mean, it felt like they were good enough to try to beat a team like Buffalo, even though they went down again, and they have just looked awful the last few weeks as they lose to the Patriots yesterday. But can the Giants hang? Can this Giants offense do anything against the Jets defense?
How about the next 6 games for the Giants?
Yeah, I know. I've been staring at them. Okay. Get to the bye, right?
Jets, Raiders, Cowboys, Commanders, Patriots. That gets you to the bye. That's 5 games. After the bye, Green Bay, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Rams, Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, it's before the bye. Like, more likely
the
it's
next
going
5 games. Can they go 4-1 in the next 5
to get to 6-6?
I don't.
Well, I mean, that means they'd have to beat really what it comes down to, because the 2 toughest games out of that are the Jets and the Cowboys. I mean, so if you could win one of those, and more likely would be the Jet game, because you'd have to go to Dallas and the Giants just get smacked around by the Cowboys, I feel like, every single time they play them. But I mean, if they can win this week, if they could beat the Jets, then yeah, I think that there's a chance that they could do it. But if not, then no, they're not going to rattle off 4 straight wins after that.
It's really too bad that they lost to the Bills last week.
Yeah, I know.
If they would have beaten the Bills last week and the Commanders in back-to-back weeks, they only scored 23 points in the last 2 games.
Yeah, they should have scored more yesterday.
Not like this is a juggernaut.
No way. I mean, not even close. I mean, they are really the worst offensive team out there. I mean, it's that bad, and I feel like they could break through at some point. They have the ability to do. They probably should have scored way more than they did yesterday. They probably at least 10 more points, at the very least 10 more points. And with the Kayvon Thibodeau situation, and with Saquon having the ball and fumbling it when they're trying to salt the game away, there should have been some other big play there that got them more points. But I mean, the fact that second half was as bad as it was for both teams offensively, just really, you can't get too skewed this morning about where the Giants are at.
You can't. Not much has changed.
Yeah, but what they want, which is a win is a win is a win. Fork in the road spot, right?
Well, the defense the last 2 weeks has played up to snuff. They've done their job.
Yes, they certainly have.
They've held 2 teams to 21 total points.
Yep, they got to do it again and again and again and again.
I mean, I don't see the Jets winning like 30-10, unless, of course, I don't know who's playing quarterback for the Giants at the moment. But
well, you've been telling me they're going to kill him. I mean, what does kill him mean? Isn't kill him like 30-10? Is it a squash spot 30-10?
It depends on the turnovers, right?
Okay, but I mean, I just figured when you were like, oh, they're going to crush him and all this.
And is Saquon going to play?
Oh my God! If he doesn't play, then forget about it. He's got to play. I mean, just do whatever you got to do. You know what I say? Shoot it up. Just shoot it up.
Shoot it up.
Shoot it up, and let's get out there.
Here we go. Shoot it up, you narps. I'm like,
shoot it up.
It's amazing. We're all sitting here saying how rough and tumble football is.
Yeah, shoot it up.
Protect the players, and we got to modify the rules. And Tom Brady's screaming that we're playing flag football now. Yeah. And here I sit next to you.
Shoot him up. Get him out there.
Shoot him up.
Get him out there.
Just shoot him up.
Hey, listen, man. It's a big game. You got to,
hey, listen, man.
You got a contract. Man. Go out there. Let's play.
Hey, listen, man.
You got a reputation now. You're hurt all the time. It's a hyperextended elbow. You didn't break your leg. You can get out there with a hyperextended elbow.
And I did. You have a new Phil Simms nickname. It came out yesterday. I'll save it.
Okay, save it.
I'll save it a little bit till later.
Okay.
I have to say, when he said it, I did giggle. I did laugh.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that should be. That's good. Phil's good.
He was funny. He was laughing so hard he was crying. I don't know whether or not he had thought it up or it just came to him yesterday.
Okay. I love that Phil's even talking about me on the NFL today.
Hey, he's screaming and yelling about you guys all afternoon. Nice. And I tell you, I'm the one that has to deal with it.
That is true. Yes, you are the show representative over there, and you're the ones who has to take
I'm the nice guy.
all the slings and arrows. Yes.
I'm the nice guy. I'm the one that always says he looks good. I'm the one that tells him he's smart. I'm the one that says he does this and he does that, and he's good at what he does. And then you guys just torch him, and then I have to get blowtorched on Sunday.
It's not so much him as it is the glasses. You know what I'm saying? It's not him. It's the fact that he chose to wear the lady glasses. But
Well, supposedly Nate's guy was coming in, but I guess that never happened.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
We
It
set
just
up the
has
whole
nothing-
thing, and you were going to get glasses too.
Right, but nothing happened.